That's a good one. Here she comes.
Oh, dang, dude.
We got a good one.
I have tons of fishing lures. I mean, I've showed half of them to you. Tackle Warehouse, you're welcome. Because you have tons of my money, I have tons of your fishing lures. However, I mean, let's be real, dude. This is real fishing. You're going to notice a theme with the videos this week. A lot of it's like back to basics, efficiency, simplifying your fishing life. When it comes down to it, dude, there's like one bait that I can literally guarantee you will catch you a fish on any lake, anywhere in the country, almost any time of the year. But as we're moving into kind of that later winter period, depending where you are in the United States, like, dude, we're getting into spring. And when it comes to spring, you can throw soft plastic, even kind of that late winter period. But I'm going to show you today, dude, if you don't throw this, and I'm sure a lot of you do, I'm going to show you 4 ways to rig this thing up that I guarantee will catch you bass. Back to basics, simplifying your fishing life. Stay tuned. I hope you guys enjoy this. You need to see this because it will catch you some fish. I promise. As I said, guys, you are going to see a theme for the videos this week because it is a back to basics with Mikey Balls, a back to basic balls kind of week. And there's a couple reasons for that. One, I definitely was struggling in Alabama to catch some fish and figure out some patterns. And 2, we're kind of transitioning into, some new seasons. We're still kind of in that winter period, but, like as we move into spring, things kind of change. And I also thought about, too, like, I want to make sure that everybody's getting content out of the channel. Sometimes it's good to kind of do a rewind, get very simple with things, and just reflect on basics, dude, because in the end, we all caught fish doing the basics. So what we're going to do, and I'm sure you guys have already guessed it, dude, the bait that literally, like, the only plastic you need in the boat or on the bank or just with you fishing is a stick bait. Whether you call it a Senko, a stick bait, this is actually a Gambler Ace. It's like a 5-inch, a 5 or 6 inch. Usually the 5-inch is pretty much like the standard, but it's simple. It's the most stupid do-nothing bait. You notice, like, the stupid baits, like the do-nothing baits, are like the most epic bass baits ever. Kind of interesting to me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 4 ways to rig this up that I guarantee you will catch you fish anywhere. You can take this bait, and it shows off, dude, in Florida, up north in Wisconsin, in Alabama, and part of it is because of the versatility of the bait. You can do so many things with it, and I'm going to show you a few of those things, a few of my favorite ways to rig it up. But, like, you can't argue with success. Everybody makes one, but stick with, like, the 5-inch size, and I guarantee you catch fish. But let's get to some rigging. How about it? So I'm going to start with, like, one of the simplest things. I know a lot of you guys say, like, you need a TRD on a Ned head. I don't agree with that. Like, a TRD definitely works. Like, it's floaty, it floats the bait up and that. But, like, say you're an angler on a budget, you're bank fishing, or even, you're on a boat and you want to simplify. Part of this reason I'm doing this video is, like, simplifying plastics. I'm still going to carry a lot of stuff with me, but, like, what if you only want to have, like, some basic plastics? My buddy Donnie Bass, I always use an example. He comes fishing with me and he brings, like, a satchel, like a man purse, and he's like, yeah, I got everything I need. I'm like, Donnie, how do you do that, dude? Like, if I go fishing somebody else's boat, like, I bring a suitcase, and then I'm, like, continually apologizing because I'm like, I brought too much stuff. And then you need exactly, like, the 2 things or the 1 thing that you forgot in your boat or on the fishing bench back at the house. So that's kind of how I approach things. So simplifying and having something that works, that you can do a lot with, is important. So the first rig that I want to show you with this thing is probably the simplest and one of my favorites. So it's a Ned rig. And what's cool with a stick bait like this, like I said, I think this is a fat ace, but you can do it with an ace or whatever. All this rig is cutting down that stick bait and putting it on a jig head. So it's super versatile, compact, short. I can guarantee you it catches fish. But the first one, Ned rig. Just cut the stick bait down. You don't need something. We always think we need, like, special specific baits to do things, but we kind of forget sometimes that you can take something you already got and do about 50 things with it. So try throwing a stick bait on a Ned rig. Little FYI too, you can use an extra light head, and if you're fishing some shallow water areas, like a little 1/8 ounce head, you'd be amazed how clean it comes through, like, pad stems and grass. Wacky. Okay, so you guys remember the wacky rig. Wacky rig is one of my favorites too. It's a little older than the Ned rig. The Ned rig is kind of like the glorified shaky head like we talk about. But the wacky rig, dude, you know, and this comes from, you guys never saw videos of it because I couldn't shoot videos. Shows how old I am. But I used to do a lot of bank fishing, especially in Florida, and like HOA ponds and stuff like that. And the wacky rig, this is actually a weighted head. This is a Carl Speeback. It's a gambler head. It's actually a pretty slick head if you're skipping into, or not skipping, but fishing in around like wood or cover. But most of the time, you just put this on a weightless circle hook or something along those lines, and we would throw it like bank fishing, and it was absolutely stellar. You can kind of like flick it around. Usually throw it, you know, bank fishing, we throw it on spin casting tackle, but you can throw it on bait casting tackle with like 20 or 30 pound braid if you want to, because you feel like you're around some heavy cover. But all you got to do is throw it out there, and that stick bait, you just twitch it, and it does basically that. And surprisingly, you can actually cover like a decent amount of water. Like if you put a little bit of a cadence on it and twitch it on back, like you're finesse fishing but covering water. And it gets bites. You guys know how much I love a wacky rig. There's something magical about it, especially in that semi-clear to slightly stained water. They just chew on it, and all you need is a stick bait to do it. I mean, they always talk about, oh, you need all these special hand custom work. Dude, the best bait to throw a wacky rig is a stick bait, like a simple 5-inch stick bait. Super simple. It's a great and versatile thing. Skipping it, docks, all that, fishing a flat with some cover on it, some grass. You can use something like a hook with a brush guard. You can use a hook with a slight weight like that if you have a little bit of depth. But a wacky rig is another perfect way to rig up your stick bait and catch fish literally anywhere. All right, I got 2 more to go, and here's something I want to throw in there really quick. If you guys have some suggestions on rigging, and I want to make it specifically about stick baits, but I know a lot of the guys that watch the videos and anglers that watch the videos, they read the comments below, so throw your suggestion in there. I just did my top 4. I'm going to do my top 4 rigging for a stick bait, and literally, like, I personally think you can catch fish anywhere in the United States using those 4 rigs. But if you think I'm missing one and you want to throw a 5th or a 6th in there, drop it down in the comments, dude. I want to hear your perspective, and people read those comments, so you're helping somebody else to kind of learn and, you know, take a different perspective, maybe rig it up in a different way. But this next one that I'm going to bust out, it is super duper simple, and it's just traditional, you know, Texas rig, right? And here's what I will tell you. I know sometimes you're going to fish like a stick bait deep and all that, but if I were to have one setup to fish like anywhere in the United States, and I know there's going to be exceptions because there's always exceptions, but just grab like a 1/4 ounce tungsten weight, a bullet, you know, what do you call it, a bullet weight, and then a little bobber stopper just like that. I use the 6 cents because they block the tungsten better, and that's actually a little bigger hook than I would normally use, but just like a 4/0 either wide gap or just, you know, offset shank hook just like that. Like, that's literally all you need. You rig that Senko or that freaking stick bait on there like that, and I'll show you how real quick, because there's 2 different ways that you want to rig it. One way's for grass and one way's for a little more like open water fishing. So you got your rig right here, standard Texas rig setup. So what I usually do is a simple Texas rig. You bring it on through, you know, just like a touch, like about a 1/4 inch. You pass the hook out right there, and then you bring it through until you reach that little kind of like offset portion. Pop it through so the knot is just inside the stick bait. Now here's the 2 different ways to do it. If I'm fishing in Florida, fishing around thick cover and pads, all I'm going to do is this. I'm going to bury it in there. There's nothing there. It's pretty. This is actually 20-pound fluorocarbon. This is actually a Florida or a more heavy cover setup. Or if I'm like fishing around wood or something like that, I'm going to bury the hook because I don't want it to pop out. If I'm bed fishing, if I'm sight fishing, if I'm fishing like more like gravelly cover, more open, less cover, what you're going to do is, instead of just burying the hook just like that, I'm going to figure out where the hook actually comes through. You can measure it by doing something like that. So I see it comes through right there. So I'm going to go pop the hook all the way out just like that. And then I'm going to bring it back and just skin hook it just like that. What that does is it makes it basically so that the hook will pop out. I just poked myself. I'm an idiot, dude. Need to tighten up. I'm trying to shoot a video and I'm like going to be bleeding all over the place. But basically it makes it so that see how that hook just popped out? Super simple. Now you are going to burn through some baits doing this, because watch when I try to re-skin hook it. It does it pretty well, but watch, crunch, and it comes right out. So, you know, you're going to burn through some baits, but I'm a true believer. And especially if you're only like running, you know, like we're talking about, like all you need is this bait to get bit, like you can buy a bunch of freaking stick baits, dude. Save some money. So the last one I love because it's actually one of the first rigs, other than, I think we did like the pre-rigged worm video. If you guys haven't seen it, nobody rigs a worm like that anymore. Go back and watch it. It was from when I went to Wisconsin. It's an absolutely killer way to catch fish, and it's a great rig to put in the hands of like a kid or like a novice angler or somebody who's just learning how to fish, because you can't miss them on the hook sets, and like it just draws fish. You're going to catch 12 inchers. You're going to catch 4-pounders. Like it's the craziest thing. It's a pre-rigged worm. You can either get them from like Walmart, or I think Tackle Warehouse has them too, or like on a harness, or I actually rig my own just with like a straight shank hook and like a 6-inch trick style worm. I use the Sweebo, but any kind of trick style worm. But here's the other rig. If you guys do fish with kids, but it doesn't even have to be fishing with kids. If you fish with somebody who's like a novice or a beginner, this is a rig to give them. But at the same time, I don't want to bias you, because I've caught a ton of fish like now using it. It's one of the most versatile rigs, and fish bite it, dude. Like there's something about it. And it's so simple. It's a weightless stick bait. Take an offset shank hook. I like running these wide gaps, like, but a lot of people complain about it. It's too much hook to set. Whatever, maybe I need to learn my lesson. This is a 4-aught, but you can do it with like a 3-aught or something like that, or you can do just a standard offset shank hook. But dude, you can do anything with this. You got a grass flat, there's holes in it, you can pitch this out, let it flutter to the bottom super slow. Oftentimes they're going to eat it on the fall. You got docks that are super snaggalicious. You can skip this, dude. You can, especially on I'm better with a spinning rod because it's easier, but even with a bait cast or whatever, skip this thing under a dock at Gunnersville, at Wilson, at freaking down in Florida, like anywhere. You got finicky, cranky fish sight fishing, like you're staring at them. You got your Texas rig, you can't get them to bite. Pitch this thing there. It flutters down to the bed. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that natural presentation, but putting a stick style bait like this Ace on just a weightless hook and letting the hook be actually like the weight, and really focusing on that slow flutter or that fall, it's absolutely killer. Literally these 4 ways: the Ned, wacky rigging, Texas rigging, and just Texas rigging weightless, no weight. I guarantee you, I don't care where you fish, I don't care how dirty the water is, I don't care how clear the water is, those 4 ways to rig up that soft plastic stick bait, I guarantee you will catch fish. And give them a try. It's super versatile. It's a great way, especially bank fishing. You don't want to bring a bunch of stuff with you. All you literally need is this. Grab a stick bait, grab, you know, your different rigging and terminal tackle so you can mix it up a little bit. All you need is a couple bags of these, and I guarantee you can go anywhere and catch fish. So keep that in mind for your next outing. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of going back to basics. Stay tuned for another going back to basics video where I freak out and figure out a real cool way to catch fish, which I think you'll enjoy. But thank you guys for watching, supporting the vids. I am out. I'm going to drink some more Diet Pepsi and wrap this thing up, but we will see you back out on the water, either catching fish or talking more about tips, techniques. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.